Welcome back to New Day. We turn now to another leader of the Republican Party making headlines this morning. Senator Marco Rubio joining several other prominent Republicans speaking out with proposals to fight poverty. And in remarks yesterday, he said America is not the land of opportunity for all. So what is he going to do about it? The Florida Senator Marco Rubio is joining us now with much more to talk about this. So, Senator, you really are proposing quite an overhaul, a major overhaul of anti-poverty programs, the biggest in 50 years, you say. Part of it, you want to turn many anti-poverty programs, take them from the federal government and turn them over to the states. How is that going to bring people out of poverty? How is that going to help people?
Well, first of all, we have to understand that right now our current programs, what they do is they help people in alleviating the symptoms of poverty, the pain caused by poverty, and that has utility, that's important, but they don't help people emerge from poverty. And the structural causes of poverty are complex. They're social, they're economic, they're complex, and they're overlapping. We have to address those things. I do not believe, in fact, I know that Washington and its one-size-fits-all approach is not conducive to finding the kind of innovative solutions that it will take to deal with the complex underlying causes of poverty. However, if we take all the money that we spend now on federal poverty programs, put them into one federal agency, and then use that agency to transfer that money to states who are pursuing innovative programs to address things like hunger, but also education and career training in combination with each other, I think that's where you're going to get better results. And the model for that, we see it already in reforms that states have made on unemployment benefits, which have been successful. And we saw it in the 90s in welfare reform that put more power in the hands of the states to find innovations to get people back to work.
And I do want to ask you about unemployment benefits and how that plays into this, because you well know that, well, everyone should be trying to find a way to help more Americans come out of poverty and to fight poverty. Democrats are already jumping all over your speech saying that it's empty rhetoric because so many Republicans, while you say this on one side, you're also not supporting an extension of long-term unemployment benefits that is before Congress at this very moment.
Right.
Why won't you support the 3-month extension that is in the Senate, that is working its way through the Senate right now?
First of all, I do support the 3-month extension. The only thing I ask for is that we find some waste in government. It's not going to be hard to do, to find some money to pay for it so we don't add to the debt. It's
Where do you think, I mean,
request.
when we're talking about $6.4 billion, sadly, that's not a lot of money. Exactly.
That's right.
Where is the money?
Well, it's everywhere. It's all, for example, there's proposals out there right now. You can find that program, and there's cuts in the defense industry that we can find that money from. There's a proposal from Kelly Ayotte to go after the fraud that exists in the earned income tax credit. That would more than pay for that. Senator Portman has proposals. The problem is that Senator Reid is not allowing any amendments to be voted on. They won't even vote on that proposal. They won't even allow us to vote on that. But let me go beyond that for a second, because I think their criticism and focus on unemployment benefits as a result, as a way to tackle poverty, is indicative of the flaw in their thinking. The problem is long-term unemployment. An unemployment check allows you to pay the bills, and that's important. But the only way to solve unemployment is employment. And our current unemployment program does nothing to help people find a job and get employed. You know what states have done? States have taken people on long-term unemployment and they've sent them a check, but they've also put them in online training courses that improve their ability to prepare a resume or interview or actual job skills, and they are finding dramatic results in helping people get out of long-term unemployment. Why aren't we doing that or empowering states to do that, not just simply sending a check? And that's the Democrats' answer to everything, and it shows you why after 50 years, we still have 49 million people living in poverty.
And Senator, will you just really quick address the fact that both sides are doing it right now? We're entering an election year, and all of a sudden everyone wants to talk about how to help bring more Americans out of poverty. Answer to the criticism from Democrats that Republicans are just doing this to try to help their brand in an election year.
Well, I've been talking about this since 2005 when I was in the state legislature. I was the Speaker of the House, and many of the ideas in a book that I produced called 100 Innovative Ideas for Florida's Future were dealing with this very topic of upward mobility. I ran on upward mobility. I'm a generation removed from poverty myself. My parents came to this country and they were very poor, had to work their way up into the middle class. Thank God they were able to do that, because I can't imagine what my life would have been like had they not had that opportunity. And I just want other people to have the same opportunity. And for me, I've been dealing with this for 10 years, so I don't know who they're talking about, but it isn't me.
All right, well, the fight over unemployment as well as the fight against poverty will continue on Capitol Hill, and I know will follow follow those proposals that you're pushing, follow those closely. There's problems on Capitol Hill. There always are. There are also other problems that I got to ask you about. I have to ask you about this exploding political story surrounding Governor Christie of New Jersey. Senator, if it is true that his aides tied up traffic as part of a political vendetta, and we are waiting to hear more from what he says today, what should the governor do? Would this rise to the level that he should resign?
Well, I understand this is a big story nationally, but I don't know anything about it other than a couple articles I've seen headlines on. I just don't think it would be fair for me to comment on something that I have no involvement in, know nothing about, haven't talked to Governor Christie. I think what we should do, for those of us who are watching this, is allow that process in New Jersey to move forward. I understand the legislature there is looking at it, but I'm just not going to comment on something I don't know anything about.
Do you think there is a lot of reporting out there, and I am hearing quietly the Republicans are very nervous about this political firestorm that the governor is facing. Do you think there should be a federal investigation?
I think that's just political speculation, and obviously people that cover politics for a living are always looking for something to drive the next news cycle. I'm not saying it's an illegitimate story. I'm just saying I don't know anything about it, and it would be unfair for me to comment on it.
Now, one thing I know, this is not just about the governor's state. He is stepping into a very important role right now as chairman of the Republican Governors Association. That is important to every Republican really across the country, because that is a very important, powerful fundraising position. If this is true, does this have the potential to hurt the Republican Party?
Again, I don't know, and I haven't spent any time thinking about it. I think we should let this thing play forward, and I think it would be fair to all sides to allow it to play forward. That's I think the right approach is to be a bit prudent here and not jump to conclusions. But as I said, I don't know anything about this, so for me to comment beyond that would just not be, appropriate.
Well, we do know that you've got a lot of work ahead of you on Capitol Hill, so I appreciate your time for coming in this morning. Senator Marco Rubio, we'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.